Hey everybody, Sam Kavaris in the Nimnicht Buick GMC Sports Update. So the Jaguars are just about 2 weeks into practice, and it's kind of interesting that Doug Marrone has called it a grind here, 5 consecutive days of being in pads. Anybody over 40 remembers putting on wet pads and pants for that second of 2 days. That's not legal any longer according to the collective bargaining agreement between the Players Association and the NFL. But I asked Malik Jackson about it, and I thought he gave a really good answer. He said, yeah, there's more reps, there's more tempo in practice, but it's only one practice. Barry Church told us that he had 62 or 3 reps at Dallas last year in the heaviest practice they had 81 in the first padded practice here. So there is a difference in that. But Malik told me, he said it's not that, but it's the every second of every day, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, you are scheduled with something to do in this camp. He said, and that can be a grind. It can be mentally exhausting. You've got to get used to that. So I have an appreciation for that, and I'm sure you do too, that in a training camp situation, that they're trying to create this team bonding, this communal misery that's part of it, and the idea that they can get through all this together so that when adversity hits during the season, if they are that kind of team, then they can overcome it. So it's interesting. I also give Doug Marrone a lot of credit, because having now been around him for about 10 days of training camp and some mini camp and OTAs and stuff, this guy's old school philosophy, which he's brought, which is new, is so different than what Gus Bradley was bringing in the 2 years that Marrone was on his staff. I mean, think about it. Marrone is over there as the assistant head coach and the offensive line coach, and his idea of how to be a head coach and how to run a team is so at cross purposes to what Gus Bradley was bringing to the table that Marrone did not say a word. And I think you've got to give him a lot of credit for, in that Coughlin-Marrone mentality, being a good soldier. So that gives you some insight as to what he wants out of his players. In fact, he told us earlier this week, look, it's we're going to stay out here till we get it right. Now, that's an old school kind of philosophy. I don't care how many reps it takes. We're going to do it until we get it right. I don't care if your tongue's hanging out or not. We're going to do it until we get it right. So I think that's a real kind of positive thing. Blake Bortles got a ton of bad publicity for one bad practice. Now, you don't know if they were calling weird plays or the defense knew it was coming, so it's hard to say. I can say that he's improved. Not great, but improved, I think, is where Blake Bortles is when it comes to his advancement. None of it matters till they take a snap on September 10th anyway. We'll talk more about that as we'll be in a regular routine now. We'll be in New England as well. I'm Sam Kavaris, and that's the Nimnicht Buick GMC Sports Update.